Hi, I'm Jason Breach from the Axminster Skills Centre. We're going to look at some of the chuck stuff today, really relating to the jaws, but we need to do a little intro bit to give you an idea of how to use them, how to set it up, what the jaws do. So first of all, we need to look at the chucks. Okay, so we have 3 chucks here that we manufacture totally in Axminster in Devon in England. So the SK80, slightly smaller, 80mm in diameter. SK100 is 100mm diameter. Then we go up to the 114. These are all stainless steel bodies. Everything is made here. There's a range of jaws that fit these chucks. So I've got one of the smaller jaws that fits the 80mm. We can put it on the 100 because the carrier size is exactly the same. We can also go to the 114. So that'll fit on there. We can do that. Now, why would we want to use the smaller jaws off the 80mm chuck? It can give us a wider diversity of sizes that we can use. So that size might not be available on some people make for this, but you could still put them on here. The only thing you might want to do is change the carriers. So the carriers that come in the SK114, slightly bigger, slightly longer for more stability. So by having the shorter carrier, it will allow it to go nearer to the centre to give us that smaller diameter. The carriers are all numbered. So on here we go 1 to 4. They go an anti-clockwise sequence in the chuck. So if you wind the carriers right out, you put number 1 in, load round 1 to 4. Okay, so they're totally interchangeable depending on the chuck. The only reason I would have those, just really for those shorter jaws so they bolt on. That gets rid of the length on the front here. What we're going to try and look at now is give you an idea of what the range of jaws will do. There's different sections that we're going to go over. So we're just going to lose the chucks. How are all the jaws made? We start off with a single billet. All the jaws now are being made, they're going to be in stainless steel. So one solid block goes onto a CNC lathe. They turn it. They do everything on here, so all the hole drilling, the groove in the bottom. Everything is also numbered, ready to go 1 to 4. So they will load onto the mounting jaws in the correct location. So one piece of steel. From there, they're quartered. So this gets cut into 4. When they cut it, they also take out a section. So we're losing about 1/4 of an inch between where we have our true circle. So we're actually cutting that amount out. That gives us more movement on the chuck jaws, so allows us to grip a bit more. We've got more movement on the chucks than just what we would have with the true circle. So let's set some of the jaws up and give you an idea of how to use them. I'm going to use our chuck. So this is the SK100. So we've got our jaws on here. We put number 1 on. Number 2, we're just going to locate in a minute. 3 and 4. We're going to use the C jaws. This is one of our most common jaws. It has a dovetail outer and what I would class as a spigot lip on the inside to allow it to bite into the work. So we're just going to set this up, put it on the board here, do the screws up. Now in here with the mounting jaws, if we wind the chuck key, the jaws will come down. If we close the jaws right down, you get like this squash ball effect in the middle. Doesn't look round, so we come away from that true circle diameter. Likewise, we can expand the jaws out. So I turn the chuck key and the mounting jaws start to come out of the body. But we've come a long way away from where we were a second ago. A lot more movement out here. So there's quite a lot of movement on the chuck. One area of an issue, just trying to set this up. Where do we need to be? The chuck jaws are machined, as we said, as a true circle, one piece of metal. So if you deviate away from those sizes, what happens? I'm going to try and show you with these 3 little bits of timber. I've turned these down different sizes. What should be a true circle? The middle one. The smaller one going away, the bigger one coming up. And this is any chuck. The chuck jaws can't bend just because you've decided you're going to make something bigger or smaller. So with our jaws, we're going to go smaller and come down. Just want to get near to the size because it's going to help me with the next stage. Just take a marker pen. We're going to come all the way around those jaws. So this is a whiteboard pen, which I'm hoping will stay wetter whilst we do this. So put this in. We're going to pinch it up. Now this is coming right down on those jaws, how much grip we're getting. We still have a small gap in between the jaws. Just going to take this back out now. So this was smaller. The only place we're gripping, those 4 little points. That's all the pressure point we're applying. Let's just wipe our pen off. We're going to come out a bit more. Going to come up to where the true circle is, the true diameter of where they were machined. Going to do exactly the same. And again, this isn't just an Axminster chuck, this is anybody's chuck. So this is getting really you to think about how near you are to the sizes that they're machined at. So I'll carefully put a line around there. We can do exactly the same. I'll block in with the key, tighten it up. Gonna give it a bit of a pinch. Now we should get a much longer line on this time. We can see our compression point much longer. They come round, okay? So much bigger. We come out again, exactly the same thing. So we do our pan, put our bit of wood in, tighten it up. Now I don't know if you can see on here, it's a good example one to show you with, but the only points we'll actually catch on here will be the little corners. So there'll be a tiny little gap in between here. Again, we'll take this back out, let's have a look. Where are we gripping? Just the little corner points. So to get maximum grip with this, the nearer you are to that true circle, where this was machined, the better. As much as those jaws have quite a lot of movement, different size, and they will still grip, the maximum aim point's the middle one, where it's a true circle. We also get people say, can you hold square objects? We can, but if you think about what you're actually gripping on here, it's a very small area. Something very short, not a problem. The minute you grow out the chuck wheel piece of wood, you haven't got a lot of surface contact. So think about where you're actually holding the workpiece. So with our chuck jaws, we've got our circle. We're quite near our true circle where the mounting jaws are flush with the chuck body. Again, if we bring this down, if you put this on the lathe and you spin it, it will actually look like they're not running true because you actually come away from the true circle. It almost looks like you get a bounce. You will have, because this has got that squash ball effect. So the only place that will look 100% true is where you come out and get this flush. That's your good starting point as a measurement. Hence the fact there's quite a range of accessories for the chucks because it allows you to get to those different sizes you might want. So we're going to turn a bowl. How are you going to hold it? We can either go with a dovetail loop and expand into the base, or we can grip the spigot. This bowl blank we prepped and prepared to do both in reality to give you an idea of what you're looking at size-wise. As a suggestion, people would say that the base needs to be 1/3 of the width of the blank. So our overall width, this needs to be at least 1/3. We're not far off with our foot. The foot we've done at the moment will allow the chuck to come out and we can actually grip inside there. So we'll bring the chuck out just a little bit, get my size. We can grip it in. I can close that down. That would hold it. That will grip it quite nicely. But where we are with that as a grip, yes, it will mark the surface. It will bite in just a tiny bit on the lip here. But the nearer to the circle we are as a true circle, the less damage we will do. We turn the blank over. We've got a dovetail. So different set of jaws. We can close these down, expand them in. That will hold. So what's going to be stronger? On here we've got short grain fibres. Quite a small foot, quite a small holding area. The leverage of cutting the bowl, is this going to be enough to support us while we do it? If we take light cuts, not too aggressive, yes, we might get away with it. If we expand the chuck too heavily, there is the risk we can crack the foot. So we need to make sure that foot is strong enough to support this while you're doing this. Likewise, if we turn it back over, much bigger area here to support it while you're cutting, much stronger on that. So as much as either of those will give us a foot of a very similar size, using the solid spigot might be a bit stronger in this case. Come down a lot smaller, it's a lot weaker to hold for you. So we've got the dovetail jaws that are going to cut a recess. They will even grip the straight spigot we have here. So we cut our dovetail, we try to make it as near to the diameter of the true size that the jaws will run at. Got our dovetail on here, got our bowl, we've got our key, have a dovetail outer shape. So as we expand into that recess, so the bowl comes up, goes in, lock it in, we turn the key nice and gently, fingertip, tighten it up. That's going to hold it nice and securely. It's a good size. Take it back. We can have our shape so it blends in. Nice wide foot. That's quite important. On the smaller bowl, we've got straight spigot. We can grip that. Pinch that in. So even with something like that set of C jaws, you've got the diversity of allowing it to grip different sizes quite easily. That dovetail, really important, we're going to look at and show you how important that is to cut that size. So we can put this in, gently up, expand it out. So we're winding out into that base, that'll grip that nicely, allow us to turn our bowl. Straight spigot, just go on the inside. Pin that up, so we turn it, clamp down onto that, grip our bowl again. So our maple bowl we have, quite small, quite delicate, come down to a small foot, quite nice shape, nice wide rim. But where was it held? Now there is this theory of taking the foot off of everything. If we go down to a foot this size, incredibly small, the leverage of when we're cutting can push it out. So this was actually gripped on this tiny little spigot on here. So we got our bowl, we got that tiny spigot. So that was actually put and held just on that tiny lip. So we need to come out of our jaws a little bit, find that lip again. That was enough to hold that, turn our bowl. So it doesn't always have to be a really small set of jaws. So our bowl taken off. Well, the joys with this is obviously the clearance point we need from here, the depth we have. So the A+ jaws have a bit more depth here. Slightly bigger size, they're 100mm external, so you can expand out, but you can also grip in. So that extra depth allows that extra depth on the bottom of the bowl just to get into there. So we've mounted a bowl on the C-jaws, so we've held this, but to give you an idea how this grips in expansion mode, what's happening, we've actually done a little thing for you. So we're going to take the 1/2 off, just going to expand the jaws back out so it grips it. So obviously where we cut the bowl in half, you can see the foot, you can see the dovetail shape down the side here. You get the dovetail shape of the side of the jaw coming down through, across. Now it's paramount when we actually cut our recess that you actually match that shape. That profile is really important, that the dovetails come together nicely and everything is meeting correctly. If you cut a straight shoulder on the inside of the bowl, but you have a dovetail on the chuck jaws, that's not going to work, it's not going to grip. So really important that this dovetail is expanded in, doing that appropriate job for you. So your aspect is making sure that you've got a dovetail that matches that shape, be it with a skew chisel, a dovetail scraper, whatever you cut them with, doesn't matter. But you need to make sure that that angle matches and you're aiming for your true circle. That'll give you maximum grip, less marking. So within the range of chuck jaws, there is a vast range of different dovetail jaws. So we have a dovetail edge on the outside, flat across the top, dovetail on the inner. This shows the profile shape, quarter quadrant. This is giving you an idea of where the dovetail is, inner and outer. There's a variety, like I said, of different sizes, which allows you to accommodate most sizes that you might want to turn. No jaws are ever going to do everything, because you're trying to aim for that true circle as much as you can to get maximum grip. So in that range of dovetail jaws, we've got mega jaws, very large. There's our half circle. We've got our little F's and D's, which are much smaller. So giving you an idea of diameter sizes, how much different these can be to suit that variety of work. So we've got lovely large dovetail out on here, great for big bowl work. Much smaller size, smaller operations. So you still can use that, expand out into the bottom of the bowl. We can still grip down on the internal face as well. So either way will work. Quite a variety in sizes. So each of the bowls here has been held on a set of dovetail jaws. So the small bowl far side, bit of sycamore, been held internally, straight lip, gripped inside the small C jaws here. Next bowl along, we've just shown you, held on this lip on the A+ jaws. So much bigger size, allows us greater stability while turning it on that little lip. Sycamore bowl here, we've got nice dovetail recess, wide foot. We've got our dovetail shape, expand into. It's there, it's visible, part of the bowl. Last bowl over on the side here, a bit of ash. This tiny little recess lip inside, that's what it was held on. We've also cleaned a little bit off after we finished, so reverse turned it, just to add a bit more decoration to that. But that was held on those, held inside. So got that scope of vast range of different sizes just to hold those bowls. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed watching those videos. So that covers the range of chuck jaws that we do. There's more to come along those lines of different things you can do with. The jaws we've looked at will fit any of the chucks that we've made over the last 40 years, so everything is interchangeable between the chucks. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.